Hi friends, I'm Lily. Welcome back to my channel. Here we talk about stories that stay with you, the kind that remind you why you fell in love with reading in the first place. 8 books, 1 queen, and a legacy of fire. Throne of Glass didn't just define a series, it redefined an era of romantasy. Today we're diving into Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. The book that began a journey millions of readers still hold close to their hearts. So let's start with a few quick facts. Throne of Glass is a young adult fantasy novel written by Sarah J. Maas and first published in 2012 by Bloomsbury. It's the opening volume of a 7-book saga, later followed by Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, and Kingdom of Ash, plus the prequel collection, The Assassin's Blade. The book runs about 460 pages, which usually makes for a 10 to 12 hour read. It's aimed at readers 14 and up, but its themes of freedom and self-discovery easily speak to a wider audience. Genre-wise, it sits somewhere between adventure, mystery, and slow burn romance. If you read Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, or The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, this book will feel familiar, though it stands on its own in tone and personality. So now let's get to the spoiler-free summary. The story follows Selena Sardothian, once the most skilled assassin in the kingdom of Adarlan. After a year of captivity, she's offered an unexpected chance to win back her freedom. The Crown Prince Dorian Haveliard brings her to the royal palace to compete in a secret tournament. If she defeats the other contestants, she'll serve the king for a few years and then she'll be free. But the palace itself holds more than politics. It's a place of glass towers and quiet corridors full of echoes from another age. While Selena trains under Captain Cole Westfall and learns to navigate court life, strange symbols begin appearing on the castle walls. Competitors fall to an unseen threat and whispers of forgotten magic ripple through the halls. Her closest friend becomes Princess Nehemia, a visiting royal whose calm strength hides deep conviction. Through her, Selena begins to see that her story and her pain are part of something larger. In the end, Throne of Glass is less about tournament and more about awakening. It's about a young woman rediscovering who she is in a world that wants her silent. Now, let's get to my impressions and analysis. Reading this book feels like walking through the first doorway of a vast world. Most of the story takes place inside the palace, but you can sense the history pressing in from every corner, as if there's a whole continent waiting beyond the glass walls. Sarah J. Maas writes with a kind of raw cinematic energy. Her prose isn't subtle, it's emotional, rhythmic, and sincere. That's what makes it engaging. It might be imperfect, but it's alive. Selena herself is one of the most vivid parts of the book. She's proud, clever, a bit dramatic, and often funny. But beneath all that charm is grief and survival. She isn't written to be perfect, she's written to be real. The supporting cast adds balance. Dorian brings light and curiosity, a reminder that privilege can coexist with kindness. Cole represents duty and restraint, the weight of loyalty. And Nehemia is the moral compass, strong and grounded, giving the story a quiet heart. The world building here is intentionally limited. We only see one kingdom and one castle, but the glimpse of magic and myth feel purposeful, like early brushstrokes of a much larger painting. There's a sense that something ancient is sleeping beneath the story, waiting to awake. And thematically, it's all about freedom, not just escaping a cage, but choosing what kind of person you'll be once you're outside it. That's what makes this first installment resonate. It's not only an adventure, it's a story of identity. So now let's get to the pros and cons. What I loved. The characters feel genuine, messy but heartfelt. The palace setting with its blend of glitter and shadow creates an incredible atmosphere, and the emotional tone, sometimes playful, sometimes dark, keeps you invested. What didn't quite work? The pacing in the first half can feel slow. The training scenes repeat before the tension builds, and some dialogue leans dramatic. But it fits the tone of a debut fantasy. The early flaws are part of the book's charm. You can feel the author growing into her voice. Now to the conclusion. More than a decade later, Throne of Glass still stands out. It's bold, emotional, and deeply sincere. It reminds you that even the most dazzling power can be fragile, and that the smallest spark can start something extraordinary. This isn't just the story of an assassin. It's the story of a young woman learning that freedom doesn't come from others, it begins within herself. For me, Throne of Glass is a solid 4 out of 5 stars. It's perfect for readers who love character-driven fantasy with emotion, mystery, and a touch of courtly drama. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more bookish discussions, and tell me in the comments what Throne of Glass means to you or where you are in the series right now. Until next time, keep reading, keep imagining, and remember, sometimes the strongest glass hides the deepest cracks. Bye.